This is Justin AMZN on Thursday, February 4th, 2021. On the 5 minute today, we were staying below the 21. We ran up into it right out the gate and then came back. I was really wanting to see a very small, some sort of bullish candle in here, not necessarily small, but just some little bit of bullishness to come in. And instead, it was just bearish, bearish, bearish. And then we got some bullishness down here. It's like, no, it already made the move. But then it actually continued to move further along. If you're looking at the put here, 32.50 is the put I was looking at. I had this line drawn in from yesterday. So that was the low here. We came back and played around with the values there with those levels. We retested. This is what I was talking about. We broke through this and we had a really nice retest. And so today we had a really nice retest of this same level. So this line is drawn in at, where's that? 49. That whole range, 49 to 514. So right around 5. It put in a low at 415 right off the gate. You would have had 10 minutes here to set up something to get in 5 by 4. I just missed it. And it was just a really nice setup. If there was any sort of bullishness in here, it probably actually would have pulled down a little bit further, maybe. But still, 5 by 4 was really a clean setup. I didn't have this line drawn in at that point. I drew this in and this one in later in the day. But getting in at 5 and getting out at yesterday's high here at like 11 or the close around 11, 12, somewhere in there. If you had been able to hold all the way to 15, I mean, maybe, but you're not going to get out the exact high there. But in at 5, out at 15 would have been 10R. I don't know that I wouldn't have gotten that. I would have been selling as this candle is coming down to the yellow line. The yellow line, very well known by now, is the top of my triangle. And it played out really, really well today. We came through it, got back above. We're starting to do this like double bottom thing here. And this is where I was looking at the call. Right through here was starting to put in this bouncing or potential bounce. And I noticed that it had a really clean low here at 625. And I drew this line and it's like, if this gets back down, it'll probably pull back maybe to 6. What's really interesting here is the call made a lower low here, even though it had a really much lower low on the stock here. So this was a lower price than the call, just the premium getting sucked out, the stock trading around. So I actually got in here at 6 and a stop at 5, and that had a really nice move, and I was out at 9. And it actually wasn't until much later in the day that I realized, wait, this is Thursday. I should have been going for 4R, which would have been getting out at 10. And I'm glad I had it at 9 because I was just out and I was able to go and do other things. But had I had it set up right where I was at 10 or getting out at 10, I'm thinking I would have had this set up differently where I moved my stop. In this case, I didn't have to move my stop. I was in and out within 35 minutes, no moving of the stop. If I was still in and it was down back down here, I think I would have been moving my stop below this low. So maybe at 650. If I wanted to lock in something, I would at least have moved it up to 550 with the potential to lose half an hour still. I think after this candle came in, putting a low at 690, I would have gotten my, and then started to move up, I would have moved my stop to 650, at least by here, just to lock in something if it pulled back a little bit more. But at this point, it would have run up to 10 and would have been out at 10. And so I was looking for the same setup again later in the day. I was not trading it through here, but watching it. And I was drawing this triangle in a little bit further over here. I had some different angles on this. I had the triangle coming down a lot steeper, and I didn't like how steep that was compared to the bottom line. So I wanted to even that out. And once I evened it out, I originally had this touching the low and this one coming up a little steeper here. And I didn't like that either. I'm like, I really want to get this. So what if I ignore this, this, I'm not going to call it a flash crash because it didn't really go very far. But if you recall years back, there was a flash crash that went down by tens of points or something on something. I don't even remember what it happened on, but it moved way down very quickly and then recovered almost entirely, probably stopping out tons of people. It would have gotten a great fill if you were trading it live at that moment. If I remember right from videos or something, I think even there's somebody live on CNBC or something talking about like, hey, that's a great place to buy and getting in. But anyway, if you just ignore this price, it lines up nicely here and snags a bunch of the lows through here. And then I just extended out and connected these. And I liked that this was starting to break out. I was not getting in here. I was waiting for it to come back down. And I got in the same entry, 6 by 5 and a target at 9. And then I was in that a little bit longer because I was in over here. I did need to move my stop. It had already gotten back up. So I had moved my stop up to, I think I did 550. No, I was moving my stop over here and moved it up to, I think 650. No, wait, where are we at? Okay, this was the candle I was moving my stop. I saw that we just barely didn't hit 9. And I thought, okay, I'll move my target up to 10 and I'll move my stop up to, I think, 650. And then we put in this candle and I felt dumb for moving my target to 10 because I could have just been stopped. I could have been out hitting my target of 9 twice on the same trade, same setup, same everything, just later in the day. And I moved my stop up to 7 at this point. It's like, okay, I'm going to come away with at least an R on this one. But I wanted to push up to 10 and I want to get my stop much closer. I want to be able to move my target up. I want to be able to get out at that, what I was thinking, the 3R level. But then that's what I was thinking about again. It's like, wait, 10 should have been the target earlier. And that's where I was kind of correcting my own thoughts from earlier. It's like, I should have been targeting 10 here. And then if I was going for the same setup, it's later in the day. There's more premium already sucked out. It's probably not going to have as big of a move unless it gets really going. So I should have had a target of 9 here and stuck with it. So I should have had 4R from earlier, 3R from here. Instead, I was out on this move for 3R. And then I moved my target out further, thinking it was going to keep going. And I missed getting out at 9. Instead, I got trailed out for a gain, but got about an R with a little bit of slippage, so a little more than an R. But it did not have the continued rally like I thought it would. I thought it was going to break out here. This was great. Like, you could have still been buying all through here, even though it had already shown it was breaking out. If you do readjust these and move this up a little bit, you're only touching the very upper wick, and you can, I mean, even if you got this down a little bit lower, it's still just like the very upper wicks of all these. And I'm about to point with my finger, but this is not as steep of a line down as this is steep of a line going up. So I much prefer more of a symmetric triangle here. So it was already breaking out, came right back in, was holding the 21 the whole time, and then rallied. And then I thought it was going to go sideways a little bit and continue on up. And instead it went sideways. And then I got stopped out, trailed out when it hit the $7 price here. And then it was back up closer to 8. And I'm like, oh, it's going to move without me. It just trailed me out for an R. You know how that goes, where you start thinking, oh, there's me getting stopped out, and then it's going to run without me. Well, it didn't end up running. It actually came down to 6 again, and I could have had another trade getting in at 6, getting out at this time 8. So if I had set it right, could have been out at 10 here, could have been out at 9 here, could have been in and out again here, in at 6 and out at 8. So getting out at 10, getting out at 9, getting out at 8, and I would have had 9 R's for the day. Well, that didn't happen, but I came in with 4 R's, which is still great, and I was happy about that. Anyway, and then I missed out on the bearish move here, and did not have as clean of a bearish move for this. not with this option at least. Had some really nice upper wicks, really clean hammers here, and could have been buying this and going for an R or two, just scalping that. But this option just didn't move as well, just being a little further away. If you're looked at maybe 3,300, so I had something drawn in from yesterday. Let's extend this. Oh, that would have been really nice. It's a little bit above. It's a little more expensive. Okay, so this line is at 1030. That's right. Okay. Yeah, this was the one I didn't like because it didn't retest all the way down. Also didn't retest all the way down here and didn't retest all the way down here. So maybe 1030 was the wrong price. How is that low? Let's see. If we move it up to the low here, 1130. All right, let's just see what that looks like. So if we move this up to 11, I'm just going to do it here. 1130. And you know what? This is kind of the stuff I'm going through during the day when things are moving around. Okay, so it hits those lows. Let me zoom back out of this. Would that have done better to retest? Yep. 1136. Oh, still would have missed it yesterday. This low, 1135, still would have missed it. And then this low, 1083. So would have gotten you in at 1130, felt like you had already lost half an hour, we're about to get stopped out, and then it rallies and has a really nice move. So yeah, I just don't like that level because it doesn't interact multiple times, and it wouldn't have helped you would not have helped you get in today either at open, or I mean it only would have helped you here, which that's hindsight. So I don't think we can go back and change this 1030 price to mean something today. I think I just would have missed that. I wouldn't have been setting that up to get in that candle. Now, again, that candle is less than 100 points, so or less than $1 on the contract. So it's possible to just trade that candle, but you got to be quick because it would have triggered immediately and didn't come back. So I think I would have missed this. It looks like it's setting up great, but maybe just not for this option. If we look at 3275, this just has such low volume. I like that the low here, we kind of had some lows, similar lows, but then it pulled back deeper. I like the small range of that candle. I just don't like the overall small volume. These single, one volume 5-minute bars, I don't like. I don't even call it a bar. It's like a little tick. That's all it is. That's what it feels like, just a little tick mark. When you're counting height on someone, marking it for a kid or something on a door frame, it's like a tick mark. Okay, just that one mark. That's all we're going to put in here. So yeah, I don't like this option either. So I'm going to go back to 3250, and yeah, I just like that level a lot better. That's the same level, kept the same level on here that I talked about yesterday, and would have really set you up nicely for a nice opening bearish move. And then this level I drew in today was a really clean level. Really coincided well with the triangle. Oh yeah, there's one more thing I want to show on the triangle. So far, let me switch to the hourly. I'm just going to jump around for a sec. Oh, it didn't. Okay, so looking at the hourly, we did an amazing job with this yellow line. And I've had this drawn in. I had this drawn in before this day, and I had it drawn in obviously before today's pullback into it. Look how clean this is as a bounce off of it. This is really nicely following the S curve I drew in. And so right now, I would love to see this happen, some sort of, S curve like this. I would not be surprised at all if we got another retest back down into this line and had a stronger bounce off of it. And still, if we were to stay in this range for a little while, this is this resistance zone. So any of that is possible. But I still really like the idea of this continuing bullish. If this starts to break down, so if we get a gap down, or if we open up down tomorrow and we get back inside here, we could chop around in here a little bit and then come back down. We could still definitely come back down to this triangle at the bottom edge of the triangle, like we did before, down in here, and then work quickly up to the top of the triangle. if we'll talk about that some more if we end up doing that. One other thing I noticed when I was kind of zoomed out looking at the hourly, let me zoom in again, is I think there's some similarities here. Sorry, let me draw it. I think there's some similarities in this range as there are in this range. Just some similar distribution going on. Breaks down bearish through the 21 and then puts in a bit of a flag here. Put in a bit of a flag here as well. And that's what I'm talking about. If we do some sort of a gap down and then retest, so if we get some sort of gap down and retest, come back up, you know, there's some possibility that this pulls back further. And if we have this kind of a pullback after, that's going to be similar to a pullback like this. I think this is already smaller. I'm drawing all over this thing. I think this move from here to here is already smaller than this move from here to here. Oh, maybe it's very similar. Let's see. Let's go look at it. Okay, so this is what I was looking at. You know, I'm talking about this. Let me switch tools. Okay, I'm talking about like this range here, breaking down through the 21, putting in a flag. Okay, so kind of picture that. And it's similar now to what we did in the last couple of days. Where are we? Here we are. Similar, obviously not identical, but similar to this range here, breaking down through the 21 and putting in a flag here. So because it's similar, that's what I'm talking about. If we get any sort of gap down, let's look back at what happened before and just see what could happen. That's all I'm talking about. I don't know that it's going to. Here we are. I'm just looking for similar action with the 21 and doing some sort of a flag. We opened down, high wave candle, went sideways for most of the day. And this was a Thursday. Went sideways for most of the day on this Thursday, the 15th of October, is that right? Yeah, 15th of October, and then had a breakout back up into the 21 later in the day. So if we do something like that, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but how cool would it be if we could look back at a previous chart? So let's say we gap down, we touch 3280, and we have a high wave candle. You know, we're again indecisive for a couple hours, and then later in the day we have a rally. I could see us rallying up to 33.25, and the 21 will be coming back down a little bit more. Get right back into, you know, where today kind of ended up with this candle. Right now, after hours, I'm looking at something else. We're only down a few points. So we're only down like right in here after hours right now. So anything could happen for tomorrow. We could gap down, gap up. I don't know. But right now we're back in this resistance zone. And I would like for it to go sideways a little bit more. I don't know that we're going to have this same sort of a rally and just run. I think that was a anticipation of earnings, and I just don't know if it can do it again. If it does, watch out. This thing is really going to run. And so far, it's playing out nicely with this being a really clean S curve. So we'll see. Hope this helps. This is Justin AMZN. Thanks.